If you guys can give me a little bit of heads up if I'm audible, maybe on the chat, maybe you can unmute yourself and let me know about it.
Yes, sir, it's audible.
Cool. Fine. So, uh, yeah. So we are gonna have a 2-day session, right? So I'll give you a brief about all of the things that we are going to cover in these 2 days. Today is going to be more theoretical, more about the course, more about hacking and cybersecurity, an introduction, an overview, and some examples, some brief examples. Tomorrow we'll be going through the technicalities of it. We'll be seeing how to get into a Linux-based machine, and if situations are right, we'll also see some scanning and hacking into Windows machines as well. So yeah, those are some things that we are going to do in these 2 days. So just a disclaimer, I don't believe as much in PPTs than I do in practical examples. So yeah, that's basically it. And please feel free to unmute yourself and interrupt me mid-talk if you have any questions. I would not mind that at all. Yeah, so I'll share my screen and we'll go through. Yeah, so I'll keep the chat open just in case you want to type in any questions on chat. You can type that as well, but feel free to unmute yourself if you will. Right. So today's class is, or today's session is more centered towards the introduction to cybersecurity, getting started with information security for the industry, because there are a lot of theoretical parts that are aligned with cybersecurity. That is obviously important. But what we'll be focusing on in this entire course, as well as in this workshop, is more towards the end of the industry. Me being an industry professional, the days that I've seen, the things that happen in real life are somewhat very, very different than that of what we study inside of theoretical lessons and things like that. So yeah, a brief introduction about myself. My name is Arun. I am a Google Cloud certified professional cloud security engineer, an EC Council certified ethical hacker, web application hacking and security certified ethical hacker from ISO/EH, security architect on AWS. I have 4 years of experience in the world of teaching as well as in the world of training and the industry. I've taught more than 10,000 students. Previously, I was in on these platforms, so you can run through that. So yeah, why are we in this course and why are we joining here early morning today, right? Okay, there might be some issues in the PPT because this is a Kali Linux machine. I haven't installed any PPT software on this, so we are just reviewing it online. But yeah, so why are we in this class? So with an increasing number of users, devices, and programs, obviously we all know it's very much self-explanatory that the cybersecurity landscape has increased in the world, right? Not only in India, not only in any country that you're joining from, but it's a global wide situation. So much of the data that we are storing on the cloud or much of the data that we are storing on our phones is not actually safe. And to be very honest, let's just say security is a myth because there are n number of applications that are tracking your data. Facebook tracks your data. Even if you agree to the terms and services, it's actually written in the terms and services that it will track your data. So security is a myth standing at this point. But any data is governed, right? What do I mean by governed? Is if you are collecting some data, if you're collecting my name, for example, you have my name Arun K inside of your database, you have to govern by some laws. And that is where we as cybersecurity engineers come in as well. We adhere to these laws and we implement our solutions. So no matter what line you might choose for yourself, you might be a malware analyst, might be an auditor, you might be a security engineer, a cloud DevOps security engineer, whatever it might be. At the end of the day, you are governed by laws, and that is an integral part of it, something that we call compliance. Right. So the importance of cybersecurity continues to grow. The growing volume and sophistication of cyber attacks and attack techniques compound the problem even further, because today there might be n number of new vulnerabilities, n number of new cyber attacks in the world right now, and you might not even be aware about it, right? It can be as simple as a spyware. Okay, how many of you have heard about something called Pegasus? Anyone?
Yes, I have heard.
Okay, cool. So Pegasus is something in the lines of Pegasus is actually very simple. It's just a malware that installs on your phone, on your device, whatever it might be, takes a screenshot every 15 seconds and sends it to me as an attacker, right? It can be as simple as these, or it can be as complex as hacking into code bases, hacking into this, server networks which are on remote computers and things like that. But yeah, the threat landscape is always huge. It just depends on your expertise about which landscape that you are working on. So these are some fields in cybersecurity. We'll just run through these and get a hold of what we actually do in these fields. So I've had my hands on these fields that you are seeing on your screen right now. Yeah, so application security, it's more towards the, okay, this is the time that you can decide about what suits your fancy and what, interests you more. Because at the end of the day, even if you do one, you will be propagating to the other parts. But there's one thing that I want everyone to be very, very clear with is what should be their primary domain, right? Cybersecurity divided into broad three terms can be network security, application security, and cloud-based security or mobile security as well. So I want everyone to be sure about what suits their fancy, and it's all based on interest. Okay, whatever you find interesting, it's nothing technical, nothing at that sort. So firstly, we come to the field of application security. So it's more of a product-based company term, but it also propagates to service-based companies which hire you to test other applications which are on their network. These includes websites, web applications, applications like Meesho, Flipkart, Amazon. These are all web applications, right? They have mobile applications as well. They have other cloud-based services as well. All of these applications are what you have to test at the end of the day for security vulnerabilities. Next comes information or data security. So any data that is stored on your server. So it's not as easy as taking your data and storing it on the server. Whatever you are typing it as your username and password, that goes through a lot of processes before you can actually save it to a database that is owned by the organization that you're signing up for. So that is the part that we care about in information security. That includes data hardening, in the sense that making it difficult for hackers to get the data that you have stored inside of your servers, getting proper data cleaning methods, getting your data retrievals, log analysis, and whatever it might be. So it's all related to data. Thirdly, network security, one of the most vast fields in the field of cybersecurity. Network security defines your work that you're doing on a particular network. It can be wired network, it can be wireless network, LAN, I mean, local area network, wide area network, whatever it might be. At the end of the day, you have to secure these networks because this is what is connecting you to the internet, right? And it can be, this is why did I say it's one of the very vast fields inside of the entire architecture, is because you have to create, or you have the most amount of control in this field of cybersecurity. You can take decisions, you can configure it on your own, you can configure your switches, routers, whatever it might be. And it's very, very interesting at the same time. But it's a little bit more towards the architecting and coding end. So if you are interested in coding, architecting, and creating new networks, then this one's for you. Disaster recovery and business continuity, one of the most crucial parts, because God forbid, no company wants this team to actually work. Disaster recovery and business continuity planning. So this is like if your server is hacked, or if your web application is down, or your app is down, what are the things that you can do to recover your data back? The data that has been leaked out, that is a different concern, but how do I get it back? How do I get it running so that the business does not stop for that organization, right? So this is the field of business continuity and disaster recovery, recovering from a disaster that is a cyber attack that you have faced recently. Operational security, working on the field of operations, in the sense that what are the developer operations, what are the things that the developers are doing, DevOps and cloud security, all of these fall under operation security to some extent. Then comes the specific field of cloud security, where you work on AWS, Google Cloud, Azure, DigitalOcean, whatever cloud suits the fancy of the organization, and you have to secure their networks. And these follow as the cloud security is relatively new. It's more of a new term, in the sense that cloud has been evolving in like in a couple of years, that it has been very much booming about cloud security in job posts and things like that. So specialize, my suggestion to anyone that starts with cloud security is specialize in one cloud. I myself specialize in Google Cloud. So it's like specialize in one cloud, but cross-train to other clouds, because everyone needs that knowledge at the end of the day. Critical infrastructure security, more towards the end of servers, on-premise systems, server rooms, as we have seen inside in films and things like that. So these are what critical infrastructures actually look like, server rooms. Physical security, in the sense that physical security does not mean security guards, by the way, but physical security is more like your security on the laptops, your security on any of the devices that a developer or a person in the organization might be using. That starts from routers, switches, mobile phones, laptops, whatever it might be. And finally, end user education. So end user education is not exactly a cybersecurity field, but it's more of a terminology that we use that shows us about what we do at the end of the day. We train our employees as well. We train our organization as well in the field of cybersecurity, right? And all of these actually have some things in common, and all of the parts that I am talking about, in the sense of network security, information security, disaster recovery, all of these remain the same. And that being the basics, obviously. One of the basic concepts of cybersecurity, or one of the first things that we are taught in classes like Certified Ethical Hacker, in classes like Offensive Sec. So these are things called critical thinking, right? So we'll take an example. We'll just make this a little bit more interactive, and we'll take an example about how hackers actually think. So say there is a platform that uses OTP. Anyone can give me a platform that uses OTP? Nothing at the top of my mind right now. But anyone knowing about any platform that uses OTP to log in?
This
Guys?
Netflix uses OTP to log in.
Okay, Netflix uses OTP.
Yeah.
Fine. Okay, cool. So Netflix is more or less secure, but we'll take a hypothetical situation that Netflix is not secure in this case. Okay. So Netflix has a OTP of say 6 digits, right? So we'll just not mention Netflix. We'll just say an app 1 or application 1. It has an OTP of 6 digits. Okay. This is how a hacker thinks, or this is what goes on in their mind. So it has a 6-digit OTP. That means it can be anything in the range of like something like this. followed by something like this, right? It can be anything. So at the end of the day, if it's a 6-digit OTP, that means it is bound to fall in the range of 6 zeros to 6 nines, right? So at the end of the day, it will fall under this. So if I start checking for 0000000 and then increment it by 1000001, at the end of the day, whatever combination this 6-digit OTP might be, I will reach it one day or the other, right? But it's not actually one day. The professional tools that we use, like Burpsuit Professional and Brute Forcers, these tools are able to do this entire computation of 6 zeros to 6 nines in just a matter of minutes. So it's not very big of a deal for us. So if the app is not properly secured, that means that I can easily get into the system by guessing what the OTP is using this technique. And this technique is known as something called brute force. Okay. So this is the entire, mindset of what is going on. So this entire thing that I told you is actually in an organization. If you are doing it with the organization's permissions as a security engineer inside of the organization, you are part of the red team. Okay. And if you are securing this, or you are saving your company from an attack, or you are suggesting methods about how to stop this brute force, how to counteract this brute force, you are part of the blue team. Okay, so this is something that we need to decide upon as well. What interests you more? Does blue team interest you more, or does red team interest you more? That is all that we need to find out right now. Okay, so I have discussed about this. It has a 6-digit OTP. The OTP will fall under this category. I want everyone to be clear with this before I move on to the blue team concept. If there is any questions that I can answer about this or anything of that sort, I would be free to take any questions if there are any. Then we can move on to the blue team concept or what the other team thinks. Anyone, any questions? No?
No, as of now.
Cool, fine. So now we think from the concept of blue team. Blue team are nothing but hackers as well. So these hackers actually go into securing the systems, right? Because the best way to secure a system from hackers is to think like a hacker. So a blue team is hired. Very good. So I have a blue team, well and good. What do I do in order to secure it? Anyone with any suggestions that I can take in order to secure this entire scenario that I have told you?
We can provide a limited time within which he might not guess.
Right. We can do something like time, but as I told you, tools nowadays are super fast. Okay. So rather than limiting time, what we can limit is the rate.
Login.
Okay. Rate
Also,
means
login attempt, right?
login attempt. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Rate of login attempts. Right. So if there are 4 unsuccessful login attempts, then it will be locked out. Okay, well and good. Now comes the feature of critical thinking, or what. So we can secure it well and good with 4 unsuccessful attempts. Okay, there's another method that we can secure this entire infrastructure with, and you guys use it every day. Nearly every day, if not every day. Can someone tell me what that is?
Double authentication, like
Correct. Two-factor authentication.
two-factor. Yeah.
Two-factor authentication. Well and good. Now we'll just take a small scenario that two-factor authentication, we are just taking it out of the scene right now. We are just talking about rate of login attempts. If there are 4 unsuccessful login attempts, then the account is locked out. Well and good. That means the actor can actually, if he is doing it in this range, or if he is trying to attack in this range, that means he can obviously go from 0000000 to 0000003, right? Because 4 unsuccessful login attempts. So at least he can try 4 combinations of this entire, series that he is trying to conquer with, right? So this is the second thought of it. And this is where, another concept comes in, that each and every OTP that will be sent by the server, the OTP server or whatever it might be, has to be greater than 0000005 at least, to be safe, right? So these are some of the things that are thought by the blue team. Whereas the red team, the job is to brute force, the job is to check the APIs, the job is to check how we can bypass two-factor authentication, right? So as complicated as it may sound inside of an organization, inside of you securing data, there's a huge burden on your shoulder that you have to secure. You have even in the red team, you have burden on yourself that you have to try to brute force and then show some results to the organization. It's not actually that tough, right? It's as simple as, or many of the attacks that are happening in organizations inside of what do you call it? In organizations inside of companies and things like that, is as simple as a malware attack. Okay, a malware that is infecting your system. So whatever you are typing on your machine is actually getting recorded and sent back to the other person, right? So if you type in something like this, that means that all of these are actually keystrokes. I typed R, that was a keystroke, E was a keystroke. So a malware that is known as something called keylogger can be used in order to track all of these and intercept all of these to myself, right? So even if someone enters an OTP that is on their mobile phone or something like that, ultimately they will be entering it on their system, and you can just simply hit enter before them and you are logged in into their machine. It's as simple as this. The second way that it makes it more simpler is something called phishing, right? Phishing is nothing but a legitimate website that looks like, for example, let's say Facebook, and you enter your password and your login credentials and whatever it might be there. And finally, what you end up with is getting your credentials stolen. We'll just see a quick example about phishing. Just give me a minute. I'll enter my password and I'll share my screen back. Yeah. So this is a tool called ZPhisher. Okay. So ZPhisher is a tool that you can use in order to phish a website. So we'll understand the concept of phishing with this. So let's just say that I want to clone a Facebook page. Well and good. Let's clone a Facebook page. What do I want to clone? So it's as simple as this, as using a tool. Okay, it's as interesting, as straightforward as this. I select 01 for Facebook. I select 01 once again for the traditional login page. I select 01 for localhost because I'm doing it on my computer. I don't want to send it to anybody. I don't want a custom port, right? So it's successfully hosted at my localhost, right? So if I go and search for 127.0.0.1 port 8080, which is the localhost port, I see a Facebook login page, right? Very well and good. This is a legitimate Facebook login page by the looks of it. Let's enter our email ID. let's just say @gmail.com. And my password is something like 123456789 0. Hit login, and it actually redirects you to a forgotten account website, which is now the official Facebook page. So no one is knowing about what happened, because as soon as this pops up, the first thing that they will check is the URL, and the URL is now facebook.com. That's very much straightforward. That's very much normal. But here, what we see here is the account username and the account password being intercepted by my 𝐒𝐵fisher tool. So we can do it for a lot of accounts inside of, like, there are a lot of options to clone Facebook, Instagram, Google, Microsoft, Netflix, PayPal, Steam, the Spotify, the Yandex, WordPress. So all of these are part of the clones that you can make. For example, let's just go to Google, Gmail new login page, localhost and no ports. Yeah. So now let's go on to 127.0.0.1 port 8080. It's probably gonna crash because I already created a port on already created a page on port 8080. That's running. Yes. Just wait for that to open. Okay, till this opens, if there are any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself and let me know about them. Or you can also type it down on chat if you feel like so.
So, sir, the red team is constantly trying to break the system. Is it the job of red team?
Yeah.
Okay, they will be finding different methods to hack.
Correct.
Or to prove that it's like competition between red and blue team for protecting and hacking. Thank you.
So it's like red. It's not exactly a competition, but it's like feedback mechanism. Like if I am part of the red team and I hack into a system, the first thing that I'll do is I'll inform the blue team that I've hacked using this method, so you can secure. Now, how you will secure, that's up to the blue team. So that is, it's not exactly a competition, but it's like, I try to hack, I get a result, I inform it to you. Or you get a security mechanism, you implement it as a blue team, and then tell the red team to test once again, see that you can hack it once again or not. Right? These are all of the things that can be done. The local host, since I hosted another page, is probably not working. Just give it another try, and if not, great. That's a Gmail login page. Okay, not very UI specific, but you can always change the UI and make it make a custom UI as well. Okay, so that is how phishing is done for companies, because companies have their official websites. All you need to do is have a little bit of knowledge about HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and you can create this page. So let's enter our email, arunk@gmail.com, for example. Enter our password once again, sign in, and it just sends me to account recovery, right? But in the end, what happens is all my credentials are actually taken away by the tool called 𝐒𝐵fisher. So there are n number of tools available for phishing and all of the stuff that might sound very daunting, might sound very much complicated, but it's as simple as running a tool and as simple as selecting some options. Same is for hacking into Windows systems, hacking into Linux systems, hacking into mobiles, right? It's as simple as, just some commands provided. So the part of hacking, this is something that people are very confused about, is that hacking is a, entire process in itself, right? But it's actually what you do before hacking someone is what creates a lot of difference about what you are trying to do. Let's take the scenario of a film, right? So in films, I am sure everyone is going to relate that if a person needs to be taken down, right? The first thing that the detective is going to do is follow him around, right? Where he is going. Maybe he's going to a Starbucks. Maybe he's going to get some coffee. He gets coffee at 7 a.m. He goes to the gym at 8 a.m. He goes to office at 10 a.m. He returns from office on this particular bus at 6:30 p.m. This is all of the things that he's going to track, right? Now, he's going to find the ideal place and time that he can actually capture this person, and then he's going to capture that, right? So this is what a film scenario goes like. In cybersecurity, we have something around the same lines, right? We have phases called reconnaissance, scanning, right? Because say not exactly 50%, but say 30% of the data that you want to get for someone or some organization or some website that you want to hack or some application you want to hack is already available on Google, right? It's just a Google search away. So let's say, for example, we have a website like I Love PDF, right? These are just PDF tools and things like that. Well and good. Now, there are two approaches that I can take. I can run tools on my computer that will like send requests to this website and then get its IP address and things like that. But why do I want to do all of those when I can get all of the data on a site called 𝐿? I can simply go to 𝐿.com, copy the URL for ilovepdf.com, paste it here, search for it, and I get a lot of information. It's registered under GoDaddy.com. These are the name servers. This is the IP address that are listed. There are mobile numbers associated to it, right? So these are all of the things that can be done for a website from the internet itself. Okay. Now, let's say, one question for everyone. What is the first thing that you want to look for when you are, let's just say that we are all hackers and we want to hack into a system. What is the first thing that we want to look for if we are trying to hack into ilovepdf.com? Any take random guesses. No
IP
issues.
address.
IP address, obviously. And what else other than that?
The security layer, the protocol HTTP or HTTPS.
No. Let's just not go into those technicalities. It's a very simple thing that we actually look for.
Hosting information.
Hosting information, we have actually got that from ilovepdf, like 𝐿.com itself. Hosting is on GoDaddy. These are the name servers. Have you guys ever heard of a security incident called Log4j? Okay, if no, go ahead and search it out on Google. It was an error that existed in Java code bases. Okay, so any application that uses Java, we won't say that will have the vulnerability, but there were high chances for you having this vulnerability because many of them used Log4j. Right. Now, what happened in these organizations is that usually what you do inside of an organization when you are trying to, create an application or create a website or something like that is have something called an asset register. And you have something called a code register, code component register. This includes everything that you have used. Maybe if you are using Python, I personally use Python. So if I use something like NumPy, or if I use something like scikit-learn, or if I use something like say Plotly, right? So if I use any of these sorts, it's actually recorded in the code component register, right? But what the organizations faced was this code component register wasn't maintained, because as developers, people keep their code very close to their heart, because at the end of the day, the developers are the ones that have written this code, right? So they keep it very close to their heart and they keep it secretive to a point. So as the result of which a code component register wasn't created. Now, what is the option that I will have to use if I need to check if log4j has been used in this entire code? Is I have to scan the entire code, and codes can be of millions and millions of lines. So ultimately what happened is it took at least 2 days for organizations to check for log4j vulnerability. And that 2 days is just enough, more than enough for hackers to find the vulnerability in your system and exploit it. So what do we learn from this is we need to know about what type of code is being used on this website, right? What kind of, what do you call it? What kind of code bases are used? What kind of languages are used for this website, right? So this is something that we need to look for. Now, I can run tools as simple as that, but I can also, all of these information is actually available on Google itself. I just simply go to tools like builtwith.com, put my URL in, look up, and it uses Google Analytics, it uses Slack, it uses Cloudflare Bot Manager, Dropbox, Smart App Banner, Crux dataset. So these are all of the components of the website, right? Now, if I find something like, say, Ruby on Rails. So it's using Ruby and PHP, right? So if there is a vulnerability in PHP that is very recent, in the recent version of it, you can also check for versions of this entire website. So it's using PHP 7. So it's like listed here itself. So if there is a vulnerability in PHP 7, I can try it out on this website, right? So it does nothing but narrows down our entire approach to the concept of hacking, or what vulnerabilities we should be looking for first, and then we'll be looking for everything else. So one thing that you might have noticed is till now there is no interaction that I did with the entire website right here. I clicked on nothing. I just copied the URL. I opened the page, I copied the URL, right? So this is something called as passive recon. Recon is the short form for reconnaissance. This is where you collect data from sources on the internet where you do not interact with the target itself, target being the website that you want to hack. And the entire methodology that we used for passive reconnaissance is something called OSINT, which refers to open source intelligence. Okay. And is as simple as that. Many of the people might think that, they actually back out from cybersecurity thinking it's very technical, thinking it's very, nerve wracking and things like that. Obviously it is at one point, because you have a burden of, securing your organization. If anything goes wrong in the field of cybersecurity, that is a devastating thing to tackle with, right? And ultimately the blame is going to go on you. So it's a big responsibility. It is technical, but it's simple at the same time as well. It just needs, you just need to know about where to search for what, right? So let's see. I am not sure if this is going to work. Yeah, this is not going to. Fine. So you can't see the what do you call it, URL bar. So I'll just type it here. So if a website is using something like WordPress, right? WordPress is nothing but a content management system. So if someone is using a WordPress, the default of a WordPress login page is the URL followed by a /wp-admin, right? So this is the general syntax of a page or the login page for WordPress. 99% of time people fail to change this. It can be changed, it can be secured, it is well and good to be changed. There will be nothing wrong with the system, but they don't change it. Hence it is more easier to find on the internet, right? That is where we use something called Google Dorking. Google Dorking is nothing but getting into the system and finding out on Google any URLs that might end with something, that might contain something, that might have answers to something, right? So one of the famous Google Docs is in URL followed by a colon, and then let's just say WP admin. Okay, so what does this mean? This will show all of the results on Google that has /WP admin in its URL. Okay, let's just try it out on Chrome. In URL colon WP admin. See, these are all of the results that contain WP admin at the end of it. Let's just open one of them. See, we have a lot of data here. Right? About.php, admin jacks, admin footer, admin header, export personal data. So that's very interesting. Erase personal data.php. These are all scripts that this particular page uses. Of course, you have to log in. That is the reason that we actually went through that. But yeah, you can also brute force this login if it is not secured, right? So these are all of the data that you get inside of an organization and in the field of open source intelligence. Similarly, it was so if we are using something like in URL, it makes it more easier to find answers, right? So if you are getting a question from maybe your university or your college or your school that might have some particular terms, you can just simply type in URL followed by your question, and it's going to show you results of links that specifically contain the text that you have entered on your prompt, right? So it's very much makes your life simpler. That's it. It narrows down your search, right? So you get a lot of information from these. I think I closed my PPT. Just a sec. We'll continue with this for a while. Okay. Any questions that I can answer, anyone, about literally anything? Like it might not be related to the things that I've discussed as well. If you want to know anything, I am free to answer that as well.
What is in URL?
In URL is nothing but it's something called a Google Doc. Okay. So in URL colon followed by any text will show you any like result on Google that contains the text that you have entered in its URL. It's as simple as an explanation as that. So it's going to show you all of the URLs that contain the text that you have entered after in URL.
Okay.
Got it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Any other questions? Okay.
So do we need a Linux operating system to be installed to practice anything?
we will be requiring Linux operating system. Okay. Just give me a second.
Arun, some few people are posting in the chat.
Okay, fine. Okay. Okay, Kumar, what happened actually in 2019 ransomware attack all over the world? I am not sure because there are n number of ransomware attacks in the world, but many of the ransomware attacks that happen across the world is as simply propagated as sending someone a link and making the people click that link. Okay, so it's very, very simple how ransomwares propagate in the real world, because as stupid as it may sound that okay, you have received a link on your mail, that link seems suspicious, but you'd click on it, right? So that might sound very stupid, that how can a person actually do this? How can a technical person who is actually looking at emails can actually do this? But it's like 90% of the cause that ransomware attacks and malware attacks happen on organizations. Okay. Even I would highly suggest you all to watch this series by Google itself. It's called Hacking Google. It depicts a story about something called Project Aurora. Right. It's available on YouTube for free completely. So what happened in Google was there was this malware that was injected into the system, rendering computers useless and stealing data from them. Okay. The main, it was called Project Aurora. So what happened in this is a Google employee simply gets a text on instant messenger. Okay, Google Chats. And the text says, "Is this you?" And there's a link which looks something like photo.as or something like that. Okay. And someone says, "Is this you?" And then sends a photo link, right? This link was actually a malware injecting link. And they simply click on it. Because obviously that's curiosity at the end of the day. Someone is texting you on instant messenger at that point of time. They click on it, the malware gets installed from one computer, it spreads across the entire Google network. And then they have to take the entire service down, change the operating system for each and every laptop that was affected. And, this entire project was taken care of. So this is the major way that ransomware propagate with. And once a ransomware is actually a term given to malware that, steals your data and the attackers ask for ransom. Okay. At the end of the day, it's a malware. So the quickest way a malware propagates is it installs on your system and it propagates itself. So a malware can be designed to send emails from your end itself. So what is happening now is, I'm not talking about Project Aurora anymore. So now if your computer is controlled by something called a malware, I can have full control over your system. Okay. And now what I can do is I can embed this malware in a PDF file and I can have access to your email account and send it to all your contacts on your email. Right now, all your contacts get this particular malware infested PDF file on their mail. And it's very much believable because at the end of the day, it's your email ID that shows. Right. And people actually know you as a legitimate person. They will obviously click on the PDF, and now I have like tens, if not hundreds of, the new attacks that are launching. Right. So yeah, that's how it propagates. How to find IPs of any mobile applications. IPs for mobile applications are also available. It's a little bit of a process because mobile applications are more contained. We'll just look it through in the next classes. Yeah. For cyber career, coding is necessary, not at all. I personally am not a developer. Okay, I won't say I don't know how to code, but I don't like coding for, a living. I am fine with scripting, making tools, bash scripts, whatever is required for cybersecurity, but I cannot develop an application. Right. The person that inspired me to be a cybersecurity professional was a biochemistry or microbiology honors, right? So yeah, coding is not at all necessary, but obviously you need to have the sense of logic. Okay, maybe some simple data science. I mean, sorry, data structures and algorithms. Maybe a simple concept of loops and things like that. You have to need those concepts. That's it. Python is the preferred language that we use, but necessarily Python is not required. Any scripting language is fine. Personally, I use Python and Bash. It can be also done in Ruby. It can be done in PHP. There are n number of scripts that you can write. And most of it is automated. Some of the things that you have to put your logic in, it comes with time. That's it. Okay. What is the best and latest trend, SOC or digital forensics? See, so it depends on your interest. Okay, SOC and digital forensics both are very, very, lucrative fields right now. Now, what happens in a SOC team or a security operations center team is you continuously monitor, right? You use tools rather than, and all of these tools are more or less automated. There are some manual decisions that you need to take, and it's more of a monitoring job. You have to sit back, monitor, and check for anything that goes wrong, right? Whereas digital forensics, you actually get to do stuff as well. Personally, through my preference, I would choose digital forensics. SOC is a very nicely paying, nice job because it requires your diligence in finding minute details. But yeah, personally, digital forensics, but both of the fields are nice as well. It just depends on your interest. Right. So we'll discuss about the career impact. Why is cybersecurity so lucrative? So career in cybersecurity is lucrative because there are very few cybersecurity engineers that are actually cybersecurity engineers. Okay. Many of the many of the companies have people that were working in cloud DevOps turn into cybersecurity engineers with just one training, right? But there is no hard and fast rule that a cybersecurity engineer in an organization should come from a cybersecurity background, right? So it's a developer or a DevOps guy that has turned into cybersecurity. So obviously there are like core cybersecurity people that are needed in the organizations, and that is where you come in, right? How are the packages with respect to experience in SOC? See, starting salary in SOC is around at least 5 LPA. That's like the base of it. You'll obviously get more. With experience, that increases with time, right? I personally am not very familiar in the packages for SOC. I'm more of an implementation guy and more into application security, data security, and cloud security. So I'm not very familiar with that, but it's like n number of job packages are available on the internet itself, Coda and stuff like that. Which role in India gets good pay? Data security, for sure. Data security, there has been a lot of hiring. This is not based on, good pay. I'm just talking about the, rate at which people are hiring data security engineers. Which cloud security are you going to teach? So for cloud security, it's like an entire module of it. I cannot go into a specific cloud because in order to practice all of those, it is going to take you subscription and things like that. But what we'll do is we'll go through the concept. We'll go through some practicals that you can do on your computer, on a virtual machine. And that would be the cloud security module. Okay, Sharath, will you teach malware analysis and threat intelligence in this course? Yes. Also, any suggestions or prerequisites to start these mentioned courses? Not at all. No prerequisites are required. but it's good to have a little bit knowledge about DSA and algorithms. That's it. How's the job market for this roles? Very much, it's very high, provided that you are a good match. Okay. Many of the cybersecurity people are rejected because they are in interviews, what they check you for is your basics, right? Because obviously you go into a new organization, you will learn their culture, you are going to learn their tools, you are going to learn their infrastructure, right? Because wherever you go, it's a new learning curve for you. What you need to be clear about is your basics, right? What is a key management system? What is a server management system? What is a CASB or a cloud access security broker? Right? These are the basics of cybersecurity, right? And that is what you need to be very, fluent about, because at the end of the day, you are going to implement these, but you are going to tailor these to their requirements. Does this course include infrastructure or on-premise data center? It includes infrastructure security, yes. So infrastructure security is going to cover on-premise as well. We are not going to do it on, live systems. We are going to do it on virtual machines. So yeah, it remains on your computer. Okay. So information security, for the term of it, InfoSec, as they call it, covers the tools and processes that organizations use to protect information. Right? This includes policy setting, prevent unauthorized people from accessing, log management, and everything in between. Right? So information security is once again a very lucrative field, and what we follow is something called the CIA triad, or the confidentiality, integrity, and availability triad. So this is actually the first questions interviewers ask you whenever you are going for a fresher cybersecurity job. Okay. Confidentiality, that includes the efforts of an organization to make sure that the confidential data is confidential, right? It's not leaked out to the people. And then comes integrity, making sure that your data is trustworthy. If I send you a data, you are going to trust it or not. If one fine day I tell you that the moon is, going to fall on us, right? In December. So you're not going to believe it, right? So that is not an integrity managed data. But you can keep it in between ourselves and it is confidential. So what does it mean? That confidential, integrity, availability, this triad needs to be balanced, right? Even if the data is confidential, but it cannot be trusted, that means the integrity is not there. That means like the data is useless at the end of the day. Availability. Even if the data is kept confidential and its integrity is maintained, it is often useless unless it is available, right? If you store your data, very good. You have stored it on your database. It is confidential. It is trustworthy, but you have encrypted your database in such a way that you cannot retrieve the data back. It's not of any use, right? So that is what we manage as information security engineers, the CIA triad. And that serves as the base of whatever you do on top. So this is what we will be focusing on in the course. Practical solutions and industry-specific applications, because we are more into the concept of industry-specific and practical knowledge. Because at the end of the day, our job is to get you job ready, right? We're going to take interview questions and practice those interview questions as well for every major organizations that you might ask for, starting from TCS to EY to PwC, whatever it might be. Cybersecurity fields, areas, and applications. Whatever fields we discussed, we are going to see questions and we are going to see job roles in, job descriptions in those fields as well. Job channels and roadmap. We are going to provide you with job channels and help you out with seeking jobs, right? And the roadmap that you want to take in order to seek for these jobs. And company-specific details on cybersecurity job roles. Right. So this is what we are going to, follow and we are going to stick to. It sticks to the entire course sticks to the certified ethical hacker syllabus, the Cisco certified network analyst syllabus for the network security part, the ISC2 compatible curriculum for the industry adherence, because at the end of the day, we are all industry professionals to be, and cloud platform security, which is going to be, based on the basic concepts of professional cloud security engineer. Right. So that would be it from my end. And if there are any questions, we can answer it here. Yeah. If there are any questions, please do let me know about it.